You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a
looking
bat, I
at the
don't know, my
youngest
rap, my
and
blood
fastest
boils
rising
over like,
star in
oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
today.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was just a fuck up real bad.
Shut up.
What is up, wrestling fans? This is BX Sports Jedi Kev with the WWE WrestleMania Backlash report. I'm going to bring in tonight's co-host who's going to break it down. And let's bring it in the one and only Heel. Salute MK. But first and foremost, Heel, how
What's
are you
up?
doing?
Wow,
Mr.
you're already
Heel.
interesting people. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Till the Ring, back with another video, and we are live. And please relax, chill, go grab a drink, everything, because we are here to talk about I guess you can say, entertaining Backlash.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, and MK's in the mood today, so I'm gonna try to roll along with him. So, you know what? I'll just get right to it before we get into the matches. We'll start with Kev. You know, the guy that actually understands time. What was your thoughts on this Backlash?
Hey, I thought it was very, very pleasantly surprised with the event itself, the whole card. I didn't have it exceeded expectations. That's the best thought of the night. It was very entertaining. And matches were well. I think this was a lot of there was quite a few matches that were, of course, WrestleMania secondary matches again. This is the second time they fought, and I think their second time around was a better match than we actually got on WrestleMania. As we'll break it down. That's my thoughts there. We'll break it down. We'll elaborate more as we.
Is it
as
fair
we
to
make
say
it down.
though that there was no expectations though going into this before we get to MK's thoughts here?
Exactly. That's why I was pleasantly surprised with it.
All right, MK, go ahead, my dude.
I agree. I think there was little expectations going into this, especially when amongst the people before watching the show, they thought it would be either a passable show or a show that wouldn't be good. But I agree. I thought it was gonna be an okay show going in, but it definitely like exceeded my expectation. I thought this was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
All right. Heel, what's your thoughts before I talk about the first fight?
I had mixed feelings. Me personally, I think this was one of those weird shows where at the very beginning you're like, oh, okay, like this actually might be like pay-per-view of the year worthy if it continues like this, and then oh my god, it was kind of like I think it's on The Price is Right, where it's like yo da 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 da, and then it just took a big dip. Yeah, and then the main event and everything was cool, but it's like we'll talk more about it later.
All right. Now, before we get into the matches, I know I wanted to bring in some news that we heard over the weekend. We heard some news that Roman Reigns, he might be leaving WWE for a little bit, and of course, there's going to be more updates to that for pursuing kind of of a Hollywood role. Creative plan of the future. He might not be there, so it throwing a little bit of a monkey wrench now with the world title and stuff like that. But I just wanted to bring those news and those that came through over the weekend. So heading into this pay per view. So what's your thoughts on that before we get into the card?
Um, my thoughts were, you kind of can see this happening. I mean, the guy does look like he can be in a lot of like cool movies, especially like you like. I mean, we all saw from the get go. He does look like he can play Aquaman. I mean, he does have like that Marvel look to him. Even maybe even to be in like some other key franchises. I mean, I don't know why. Yeah, the Samoans, they're just gifted with star power. No matter if it's just wrestling or even crossover appeal, they're just
Also,
naturally gifted.
also
And
remember he had some health issues before.
yeah, and I heard from another show that him and his cousin The Rock had the same agent, so that helps his case too. Get over into the movies and other things.
And MK, what's your thoughts on that?
When I heard the news yesterday in the morning, with the clip that they showed at the house show of him saying that, oh, he's in the next phase of his career and blah blah blah. I immediately thought that, okay, obviously the speculation of him maybe leaving sooner rather than later, which isn't really surprising. But I also thought that, okay, maybe he's just saying that, which we actually came to find out later on, sometime later in the day, that he's
Long
gonna have
pause.
he's gonna have a
He's building up. A little tension.
no he's gonna have a
A lot of
lighter
tension.
schedule.
Okay.
He's gonna have a lighter schedule. Okay, all right. Um, but so what I was gonna say was, okay, I almost lost. Oh, there it is. So he's gonna have a lighter schedule, going forward, and that was kind of expected to happen, especially lately when you see him not appearing as much on Raw and SmackDown these days. So you kind of expected that he was gonna have a lighter schedule going forward. I don't think he'll be like a Brock Lesnar kind of type, but I think he would be one of those situations where he would mostly do TV, but rarely do house shows. You know, that sort of thing. And obviously, you brought up a point too. Also, his battle with leukemia as well. That can happen. Sure, he battled it twice and he's in remission, but you never know if it can come back. So I feel like WWE knows that anytime he can always go back into health scare again. But I also think like him having that lighter schedule, it gives him more of an opportunity for him to work on other projects down the road. So I mean, overall, look, it's a good move. But for now, I don't think he's leaving the company anytime soon, because I heard that he did. It was reported that he did sign a new deal for lesser dates. So yeah.
Yeah, and what you see going on here is what they started off with Cena. When John Cena first started dabbling into the movies and certain shows, certain amount of work events, you're gonna fight the premium events. Not much, like you said, house show here and there on Monday Night Raw, or in this case, it looks like he's gonna be the brand franchise for Friday nights for SmackDown, and small appearances and starting to phase it just like Cena, his kind of work schedule along, but one thing about the sports entertainer, they transition well when it comes to Hollywood and movies. I can
Mhm.
say that you don't see that with the football players as much or any other sports. You see it more with the with wrestling entertainers because they have to know how to sell a character and sell their either being a heel, getting the crowd over, or believing their story, their narrative if they're a face. And I think that's why they see these guys do such a well job transitioning that world of movies and entertainment because of course let's face it, not only they're athletes but they're sports entertainers. That's why McMahon goes out his way to call them sports entertainers. And I think Roman Reigns is just getting that second phase of his life. I think he's what 30, he's like in the mid 30s or close to upper
Yeah.
30s.
Yeah.
So he's
Basically.
yeah. So you're trying to see now maybe in your early 40s or 40s go into transition to movies only, similar to Batista, John Cena, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. But also you also see the other side that didn't work out. You saw Ted DiBiase Jr. not so well in the movies. You also saw Roddy Piper. Remember, he went out to do some movies, and 2 years later he was right back into the wrestling world. Again because it just didn't work out to Hollywood. But we shall see there. It'll be interesting to see if that's going to go forward. And WWE gave them the full blessing. More like we're going to embrace it. Instead of bearing and being frowned upon. No, they're going to embrace it. And you're going to do it. Well, we're here to support you. Thank you, and we're going to keep it because you can always come back, and you're going to even get over even more if you have a really good Hollywood career. And look what it does when you have The Rock. Look at Jacina. You tell me you put them on, they could sell out an event like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope it works out for him. But obviously, the wrestling world is gonna miss him a ton.
Yeah, it's not official. It's just rumbling and speculations. I just
Yeah.
wanted to start with that, with a little bit of speculations and so forth with that. But with anything before with anything else with Roman Reigns, that teaser before we get into the nuts and bolts and the rice and beans of this event.
No,
No.
not at the moment, but I will. There is a little bit of a breaking news.
Shoot.
For Raw tonight, it just
Oh
made
wait, hold,
official.
hold. Wait,
Yeah.
don't. Nope,
Oh.
nope.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope.
That's for the end of the
Oh.
program. You're gonna ruin it. I got it. This is
MK.
this is the
MK.
reason why we come 15 minutes early and we prep.
I know. See,
So we don't have this.
See,
My.
Well,
what a
this,
jobber!
folks,
I don't see.
well,
I don't
wait,
even have
wait,
to bury
well,
him. He bears
since
himself.
the cat is out of the bag, thanks to Mr. my main guy, NK. So we're gonna go with the breaking news for tonight, which was gonna leave it for the end of the program because the pay-per-view pass had first started. Then Raw comes in about another 2 hours from now, but we'll break it. And the breaking news challenging for the United States title tonight. Go ahead, say it, MK. That's your baby right there.
Yeah, you may as well. Go ahead.
Nah, you guys are awful.
No, go ahead. You brought
No,
it up.
but I mean, yes, it is official. Theory will be defending the U.S. title against Cody Rhodes tonight. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of interesting, I suppose. So yeah, that's basically the breaking news at the moment.
You know what? You know what that earns you?
Yes, do it.
And not even the list. It earns you to the new club, and you're going to be the first club member. So you're in the boo of the week.
To be fair, this is what you actually call heel heat.
Yeah,
No.
you can say that.
There's
But
a difference between heel heat and then just flat out being booed at the building.
I'm getting go away heat right now.
okay, so we saw that tonight. We stay tuned to that. We'll have the program tomorrow breaking down the Raw report here on the Heal the Ring podcast. And hopefully, we can prep it and we won't tell you any spoilers for NXT 2.0, but I can't promise you that, folks. So, but let's go. What were you guys here to hear us? We're going to talk about the pay-per-view, the premium event, WWE Backlash. It opened up with, wow. I thought it was, not for nothing. I'm like, did they take a page out of almost ex-WWE wrestling? But it started off with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. They opened up. They kicked off the show. They opened up the action right off the bat. They gave us a hell of a match. They started it off. They got the crowd popping. They start the American Nightmare comes out. And, of course, it opens up with Seth Rollins first. The video tribute. What do you guys thought on the opening match? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you think they could have made it for later down the road? Let's go with MK first, and then we'll go to Heel.
This match, much like, and this is a theme throughout the show where this match was better than their Mania match. which I even thought that one was very good as well. But this one like went to another level. I thought the match was excellent between these two, and I think these two guys have great chemistry. And I actually like the ending where Cody did outsmart Seth. You know, I know some people think that it's weird for a babyface to quote unquote cheat, but at the same time, it's like if the guy did it to you first, you can do it to him after, right? It's payback, right? So it made sense, and this kind of gives an out for Seth to say, "Hey, you quote unquote cheated," so this gives them room to do another match down the road. But I thought overall these two guys killed it. They had an awesome opening match, and yeah, this was awesome.
I mean, literally, like when I saw them open up with this, I was like, okay, you know what? This is a good opener. Because let's be honest, deep down, we all knew what was going to main event. So I was like, all right, you know what? This is gonna open. I'm glad it is. I just hope this show has good momentum, and this was a great way to set that momentum. And let's be honest, Rollins he can work with literally anybody. He's just one of those wrestlers. I feel like I am. And Cody, he's a great wrestler in his own right, and literally like this match just had a great story going with it and everything like that. And for a second there, I actually thought Rollins was going to win this match, but the way they told the story, it made a lot of sense. Like you just said, the way Cody won. And I'm glad they're both going to start doing their own thing because let's be honest, it would have gotten a confusing reaction, and the story would have gotten confusing too if Rollins would have won the last match. Because then it's like, do you keep this going again or what? Or is it like a 2 out of 3? Yeah. But overall, yeah, this match was just really good, and it got really intense back and forth towards the middle. And my only concern when it ended was, okay, this card is really, no offense, not impressive. Are they going to be able to keep it up throughout the whole entire night?
I like you said that, but we'll elaborate on that there. But my thoughts with that fight, you had a lot of back and forth from the Rollins said I scouted you. When he went for the drop down punch, he knew already what was coming. I like that angle that they played, that heat, and they kept the crowd popping. You saw a lot of different moves. You saw Cody miss on that moonsault. And Rollins with the super kick. The back and forth, and man, entertaining fight. Like you said, MK, they bought it. They took their match from WrestleMania and they made it better. That's what you want when you want a feud and you want a returning fight. As much as we have criticized in the past, how many times you're going to bring Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus RK Bro, and it's always almost the same thing, and we don't see nothing new or the match take us to another wow or another level of excellence of when once you thought you saw this, we see them doing something even more. This match delivered. And it delivered that on that promise of what we criticized in our shows past. Kudos to both Rollins and Cody and it shows you here, not always all the time you need to be a winner to be put over or able to lose a match like Rollins. Rollins, he might have lost these two to Cody, and not for nothing, if you get him, you could get him, put him right into he's much of a made guy that he could go right into a fight with Roman Reigns next premium event, and he could headline it, and he could still captivate us. Right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree because I agree because Rollins at this point he's already established, right? So he's bulletproof. The guy can lose.
Is that a pun on his sets back in the day?
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, he's bulletproof. Like he can lose a bunch of matches and he can be in the main event picture tomorrow. To me, I think Rollins, he's kind of in that Randy Orton spot where he's not the face of the company, but he's a level lower. Like he's the 1B number 2 guy where he can lose a bunch of matches, but if you put in the main event scene, people will still believe that he could win. So he can lose like another match to Cody and it wouldn't hurt him at all,
He carries himself. The promo, the cachet, the flair, the aura of him that could carry it, and you could put him. Hey, we're gonna put you in the main event, and it's like no step lost because he could carry it, and whatever angle you want him to go with, he could generate either the pop, the heat, or whatever to get the crowd and get the energy going of an event, and that's what they look for in a sports entertainer. And there's few guys that have the it, and like you said, MK, Randy Orton has that. AJ Styles in the right circumstance has that. So does Seth Rollins, and maybe now we're trying to see, we've seen the maturation of Cody Rhodes getting to that level. Maybe it's that's why it took him 6 years away from the WWE to go and swim in the small pond that is AEW to come into the big pond and try to learn how to establish himself. So what's your thought on that, Neil? Before we move on to the next fight,
Oh, what was that?
what's your thoughts on that with Cody and the analogy that all around with the difference between Rollins and stuff like that. Now we can move on to view.
Yeah, like absolutely. Like these two, they both have tremendous charisma and just like you said with Rollins, like he's the type of guy that can get the crowd pumping. Honestly, at first he wasn't really like that. Like at first I think you can argue that the only reason why they got the crowd pumped was because of the Shield, and then a little bit later on when they split him up, he wasn't really getting that much of crowd reaction.
I
Then,
disagree. I disagree, but
but then as he got along and got more seasoning, his reactions started to get more and more organic, and now he's in the middle of his prime, and we'll see where that goes. And right now, it's looking like he's gonna have one H of a career.
You
I'll just
forgot
say.
who anointed him though when he left the Shield. Triple
Yeah,
H.
Triple
Remember
H.
that?
Yeah, we all know
You
that.
know, yeah, but he didn't struggle with that. The minute he was
No,
anointed,
no,
he,
no. I'm not saying he
he
struggled
took the
with
ball
that.
and ran with that. What's your
yeah,
I'm not saying he struggled with that. I'm just saying like the crowd reaction got bigger and bigger like as time went on. I'm just saying at first it wasn't like it was like a mega pop. Like it was just kind of like slowly the crowd started to get behind him. That's all I'm trying to say.
he recognizes when to change gears because I think when he got stale with the Monday Night Messiah, he changed switch gears, dropped Murphy, and Sean, and now Seth freaking Ron. So that's
I
one thing about him. What's your thoughts, MK? Go ahead.
I feel like, and I agree. I feel like one thing with Rollins, I feel like the heel turn from 3 years ago extremely benefited him. You
Yeah.
know, because he was getting stale as a baby face. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big Rollins mark regardless, but I feel like him going heel basically made him more of a more well defined character. You know, because before he was known as just a guy with he can have great matches and whatnot, but that's only good for like if you're like mid card, upper tier, upper mid card level. Seth Rollins is a main event level guy, and if he's just a guy who's known for his matches, that's not really enough. So when he turned heel and had the whole stable thing, and that worked for a while, and then he changed it to the visionary, right? It helped him tremendously.
Yeah. So we'll see what now we'll see, we'll mention those that are joining us or hearing us in the podcast in 23 minutes in, if you tune in. Of course, this is recorded a couple hours before Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, it was announced. Cody Rhodes is going to take on Theory for the United States title on Monday Night Raw. Now, could it be his first minor title for Cody Rhodes, or will Rollins some way somehow get involved and continue that feud, causing him obstacles, and maybe that's the theme here. So many different obstacles trying to hold them from winning a belt or title, world championship, and we'll see on that there. But we'll check it out there for. We know what Cody's is moving on to. We'd like to see what Rollins is going to move on to. Coming down here. Of course, there's Hell in the Cell coming up. Maybe he's going to want a Hell in the Cell match with Cody. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what that builds there. If let me ask you before we move on to the next fight, because we spent quite a few time on the first opening bout. Yes or no? Would you like to see a third fight between these two gentlemen? I'll go to heel.
No, I'm fine with this actually, and the only reason why is I think the third fight would get a little bit too much.
Okay.
I
MK?
I would be okay with a third fight, but if they're gonna do a third fight, I think there should be a stipulation involved.
Okay, a stipulation.
But
Um,
Rollins will have to go over though. That's the only thing. I feel
I
like
if I want a third fight, I want to see blood. I want to see a violent fight. Like Hell in a Cell. I want to see a bloody, well, someone, both guys open up, something memorable. You already got these two good fights already here WrestleMania Backlash. They were both good, different fights. You've seen different endings to the fights. Now I want to see something, maybe violent, a little violently.
I I,
You know,
I I
yeah. Go
think
ahead,
it
MJ.
should. I think it should be. I actually think this should be one of the matches that should be inside the cell
Yes,
because I feel like it's starting to get a little bit more personal. You know.
exactly.
So, and I actually think Cody should win. Honestly, and go with the Batista Triple H route where he wins 3 back-to-back pay-per-views. You know. And I think that would be a great way to start off Cody's run in WWE going forward.
Yeah, like a memorable with something, or if you're gonna have Cody, um, take a fall in the paper. You kind of keep him. You want to keep him hot, and you also want to strike while the crowd is popping. But especially we don't know with Roman Reigns' uncertainty in the company. You also want to keep him going because SummerSlam is a couple events away, minor pay-per-views away. It's right
Mm.
there. So I'm not saying that's when Cody's gonna win it, but if they have visions of it, maybe they're gonna give him the U.S. title run and let him build on that, and then set them up for next year. Who knows what route they're gonna go? But my point is, if you fight in that, and you're gonna the third fight, maybe set up his next feud would interfere or cause Cody his first
Yeah, yeah, I
mishap.
agree.
Yeah, so we'll see with that. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a definite look at that. On that, all in all, I'm gonna give the out of a 5. I'm gonna give this match a 4.5. I think even 5 because I think it was really that freaking good.
I
What
agree.
not
I give
5,
it.
but I'll give it a 4. To
Yeah,
me, a 5 would
or
be
an
like,
A, or an A. Good A, solid A.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. So
I
we'll
agree with you. Yeah, four and a quarter, four and a half. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And we'll move on. Boy, it was tough to top off that first fight, which especially the crowd was so in, so over, so hot. And of course you see Cody. I got 2 on you, and then we get Bobby Lashley versus Omos in the fight.
Hmm.
You know, I was expecting a total toilet match. When I mean toilet match, you go get up, go use the bathroom. You just drunk, a big gulp before going and watching the before you go to the event because you're cheap to spend $9 on a soda, so you drink a big gulp at 7-Eleven, and
hey,
then you
$9
pay,
is expensive.
and then you're paying the price that you have to go pee and or go to the make the line. But you know what? I was pleasantly surprised with this match. I think Osmos. You could tell that there's an athlete there, despite him being big, over big, and sometimes limited or doofy with some of his moves. And kudos for Lashley for helping him get over. Type of. I like the fight. I thought it was a very, I know there's something there with Osmos. I think he needs more seasoning, and I'll get back to what I mean seasoning. But all in all, I thought the fight was solid. I'm not gonna say it was the most greatest to rank home about, but I liked it. I wish the only interference. I wish MVP would have not got physically involved with it. I thought somehow a distraction of some sort. But all in all, I can't complain. I thought it was gonna be a total bleep show, but it wasn't, and I was totally surprised. I kind of said, you know what, not bad. What's your thoughts, Heel?
Actually, I don't even think it was the wrestling that got this match over. I think it was just the overall story of the match that really got it over, because just the whole entire story of like as soon as Lashley would get the upper hand, MVP would find some way to distract him, and then Omos would come in, and then that's when Omos would start to take over, and it went back and forth like that. Then Omos obviously would win on MVP shot at the Kanan and the finisher, and then I was like, you know what? I was like, okay, I'm like, if you're probably one of those like hardcore in-ring elitists, I can see you hating on this match like really, really bad. and I would probably agree. This wasn't the best in-ring match at all. It wasn't. But from a storyline perspective, yeah, it was a good match. Was it
Right.
a great match by all means? No. But like a solid, maybe like 3 stars, maybe.
It wasn't Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. He
No,
wasn't getting that match.
no. It was a good calm down match. Yeah,
MK?
like it did its
Oh.
job. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think this was a solid, decent match, and I thought the match was more about advancing the story between Omos and Lashley. I think Omos, and I agree. I think Omos has the potential there, and I think he did okay in this match too. I think he's slowly improving. You know, I think there's potential there for him to improve on. But I thought overall, I think the match itself was solid, was solid stuff.
All right. And when I mentioned about, like you said, they need to improve from improvement, I think almost needs is to get some bumps. What I mean bumps is he needs to work. They need to book him, and of course, granted, back in the few, before before the pandemic, there was a lot of house shows where wrestlers were not on TV, but they will do a lot of dark matches or house shows and get seasoned and get that in ring bump that they need. And now that they're so limited and there's so much on TV, we get to see dissect all the mistakes and all the mishaps, and it doesn't look like a good product. That's the problem that we have with NXT, 2.0. It's a live audience, and we watch it every Tuesday night. Those that do watch it, and you see the mistakes, or you see the wrestlers go through their bumps and bruises or their bumps, and it's exposed on live TV, and you're like, oh, this is garbage. This is not a good product. It's because they're learning on that process. That's why I keep an open mind when it comes to the NXT storyline and wrestling and what they're doing here. I don't look at it with a fine tune or with a magnifying glass and dissect everything and criticize everything, because I know that's eventamental stage for these wrestlers to not only work on their promos, cut a promo, do the in ring work, and get in front of a live crowd and live audience. That's why I have those lenses on them, and I don't be too critique on them, and I kind of enjoy it because I'm watching. I identify myself if I'm starting out. Wow, I want to be in that, and that's when NXT. That's not to take it away, but almost I think he needs that as well. I think he needs to do more house shows, get him over, get it, let him cut his teeth, what they call it, with different wrestlers, and say, can you watch my match? Can you see what am I doing here? Give me some advice, and that's what you get. You're missing that essence that you used to get in the old days, pre-pandemic, with now these days, because they don't face it. You look at their schedule; they're working less shows and they're more on TV, and I think that's what osmosis baptism on the fire, and that's the same thing that's happening with Rey Mysterio, with Dominic as well. I think that also, I think he could wrestle. He's a great performer, but I think they need those bumps and those dark matches and house shows to go forward, and that's my opinion on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
I I can totally see that, but a lot of people got to remember, like, Almas is exactly my age. Actually, he's 27, so like he's got a lot of potential, and
Oh yes,
yeah, like, and 27 is very young, very
he's
young.
athletic. He's extremely
Yeah,
athletic. He's
yeah,
agile for that big height, and he just needs to know how to do the bumps. And
yeah.
yeah.
He's stiff.
Yeah, he's very young for, especially for pro wrestling. Like a lot of people don't know this, but pro wrestlers don't reach their prime till they're 35. So
Correct.
this guy's got a long way to go, and
I,
that's a good thing. And
I think it's one of those things where I think him taking more bumps would make him a little bit less stiff, you know? So because then it's like, okay, he's used to taking these bumps. Because when you don't take as much bumps, it's like every time you take a bump, it'll feel like you're getting a lot. You know, when you get dumped into a cold water pool, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where if you're not used to something, you tend to be very stiff. So over time, it's like, you know, when he takes a little bit more bumps, he'll get used to it. So he'll be a little bit more loose in the ring, you know. So that sort of thing.
Yeah, like Heel, when he gets in the cold pool, he says he has shrinkage.
only my shirts, because I don't like to show the stomach.
So, so we so of course, those that are joining us, we have the winner as Osmos in that match. So of course we get that there. Now let's go on to the next match in the card. Now it was Judgment Day, Edge versus AJ Styles. This is the wow. This feud is taking twists and turns. Now we saw Damian Priest. The stipulation is no interference whatsoever. Cannot barred from ringside for Damian Priest. Cannot interfere in this match. AJ Styles says I'm going to have a one-on-one here. I'm going to get my hand on Edge. All in all, to pretty good match, but we saw Priest try to make his way to the ring, also only to be intercepted by Finn Balor coming in. And somehow I thought they weren't allowed in ringside, and they ended up in the ring. I'm like, oh, what are we doing here? Wasn't that stipulation? No one here. Thank you,
Well,
Bruce.
hold
I
on,
understand.
hold on. I'll defend. I'll defend the story in this case. At first, Damian Priest did point out, and this is a good thing. The simplest things sometimes make the biggest differences. Damian Priest did say, because again, the exact rule was ringside. They never said the ramp, and even he pointed out to AJ Styles, "I'm right here on the ramp. I'm not by ringside." So I was like, you know what? That simple gesture right there actually made it a lot more entertaining. I'm like, oh, he's right. He's right. He's still not at ringside. They didn't say anything about the ramp.
But they ended up in the ring still.
Yeah, because
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
because
I mean
yeah,
that's
because of Finn.
because Finn Balor attacked him.
Yeah,
So you can't really blame down Damian Priest. So I was like, you know what? That's actually good storytelling. I'm like, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
So before we go to the big reveals and who won and stuff like that, the fight, I thought the fight was way better than WrestleMania.
Would I go way better? I
Except
mean,
for the finish. I think you could have got a really you finished him with that move. But other than that, I thought it was more personally. I thought it was a better match than WrestleMania.
better story again because there was
I talk
one
about
there.
in ring maneuvers and moves. I thought it was a better match, much more cleaner.
You can go either way. I'm not gonna argue with anyone if they choose either or. But without a doubt, I like the story behind this match. Again, with AJ coming in with the injured arm and all that. To me, that was a pretty good story to
And they
add.
worked that angle really well.
Yeah,
They worked
yeah.
that angle
Well,
perfect.
Edge is part of the last old school, so obviously he's
Yeah.
gonna know how to work those angles a lot more better than a lot of the new school wrestlers would. So, um, and I like Styles sailing. I mean, there was a couple of questionable moves where I was like, can he actually hit this if he actually really had
Okay.
a broken arm? But and that kind of would take me in and out of the match. But other than that, I was like, I'm okay with this storytelling. It's not the best storytelling. It's not the worst, but overall decent to good storytelling. Edge did phenomenal with this storytelling because he was just flat out whipping his arm on staircases, the ring, everything. I mean, he didn't try anything that would damage the story. But AJ, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he threw me off, especially when he went for like big moves like the Styles Clash and all that. But it was all right, on that part. But I mean, put it this way: there's nitpicks, but overall the match was solid to really good.
MK, before we do any reviews or any stuff, what's your thoughts on the match, in-ring match, the storyline? What's your thoughts?
I agree. This was much better than their WrestleMania match, and I thought their Mania match was okay, but it was disappointing, you know. And I thought one of the problems was that it was very long, from their last month's match. This here felt like a lot shorter, and I thought the pacing was much better too. I did like the selling with the arm and stuff like that. Um, I thought the entire match itself was very good, you know. And again, much like the Rollins and Cody match, this was a better match than their previous one. So and I yeah, I just overall was this was a very 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 good match between the two. You know.
Right. And of course, we did see even like you said, Priest come down and said, I'm just on the ramp, and Balor came in to intercept. They came in and they started fighting. All in all, caused the referee. What's going on? Midwest Podcast salute in the building. We saw them distract the referee, and all of a sudden we have a mysterious person in the cloak in coming in here, and you see Baron, saying, "Who is that guy? Who is that? Who is that?" And all along and behold, and just like the Jedi said, was it a couple weeks ago, we all saw the one, the only Rhea Ripley come out and join the Judgment Day. What's your thought on that reveal?
Heel, you go first.
My thought was, all right. Well, I mean, hopefully this can help her career by getting a little rough from Edge. But I'll be honest with you, deep down, I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know whether to be excited about it or just not care. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not the biggest Rhea Ripley fan. I wish it was someone bigger who they revealed, but it's whatever. I mean, we'll see where this goes. It might actually be really good for her. It might not. I don't know. I just don't know about it.
Kev?
I didn't mind how they did it though, by
Kev?
them costing AJ the match. I really didn't.
MK?
I thought the reveal. You know what's so funny about the reveal? So when the hooded figure pushed AJ, right? The commentary was saying, "Who is he? Who's that?" You know,
Correct,
everybody
correct.
thought it was he,
Right.
and it's like, bro, that clearly looked like Rhea. You know, it was like that's definitely Rhea Ripley, my guy. But
Yeah.
yeah, Rhea Ripley being the one to join the group, I thought that was really cool. I was surprised that she actually dyed her hair. You know, that was I didn't expect that. You know, so them joining her joining Judgment Day would be it's actually the group is forming together. Even though I'm kind of iffy on the name of the group, but I like the pairing with the Edge, Priest, and now Rhea. I think they fit well together.
Kev's not for obvious reasons. Be careful,
I,
Kev.
I like all three. I called, Rhea Ripley. I'm a big fan. I am, unlike Keo, I'm a fan of Rhea Ripley. I think this staple here, with Edge working with Priest, I think that Edge is going to help them get over. I think she has the look, and of course the stature. She's tall, she's big, and fits there. You're kind of. I'm not saying she's going to be a China, but she's got that kind of like, I'm getting vibes of China joining when she joined DX, that third member, that of that staple there, no nonsense, a woman who held the world title before, who knows how to get over, and of course, and the one thing I was like saying, and I'm glad they revealed it, and then I thought about it. You know what? They missed, although they don't really need to, but they could have missed big opportunity of not revealing who it was and leaving as a cliffhanger for Monday Night Raw. You open up the segment with that. Who could it be? And then she reveals herself, and maybe and that would have got the cliffhanger to draw more eyeballs to Raw. Let's face it, Monday Night Raw ratings were down the past 2 weeks. Maybe you want to generate more Raw. Of course, NBA playoffs and so forth, but we could talk about that at the end of the program with that. But I thought, all in all, I told you that weeks ago. When before they were teasing that breakup between Liv Morgan and her, I said, you know what, I won't be surprised, and I won't be surprised there'll be more members. This is going to be kind of the staple is going to grow. Although we saw the Balor, we saw Finn Balor and AJ kind of agreeing with each other, but you know what? Doesn't it set up for the Demon, Finn Balor to join this Judgment group, with Judgment staple?
No, if anything, I think the Demon's gonna end up facing Edge like at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there is a chance for for AJ. I mean, for Finn to turn on AJ, but I don't think it would lead to Finn joining Edge.
Okay.
You know, I think I could see the turn happening, but not for a few months. I think they're gonna get a tag match out of it, and then maybe after that they're gonna maybe do the splits
Now,
for
okay,
that.
so if AJ and now Finn, do you think now Liv Morgan associates himself in the Balor Club?
Uh,
You know,
Yeah,
it's
it's
possible.
possible.
okay,
They could do a person tag match. They can definitely do that.
all right. So we can see that. We'll see
Yeah, uh,
how that transpires
and
on
I'll
Monday Night
just
Raw.
say this: I shouldn't say I'm not like the biggest fan of her, or whatever, but I just never knew how to feel about Rhea Ripley.
I
If that
get
makes
you.
sense.
I get
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I get you. I understand that because but I think before the heels, the heel and the split with Liv Morgan, I think young little girls kind of gravitate to her, liked her. She's like, ooh, look at she's the naughty, big naughty girl, like that. Like
Ooh.
you associate, the in school you always had the cute little blonde like Liv Morgan had that
Yeah.
big bodyguard type of girl who's just big athletically will watch her, and you could the little girls associate, I don't know. That's just me. I thought she was over to begin with. I know, and I think she's more better and on her heel, her look and her persona more of a heel than the baby face with the smiling, and I thought it was cool and all, but I kind of like her in that role where she's out there. I think she's going. I'm telling you, she's gonna do great things there. I think she's gonna be so next time next year she's gonna be really a real a big impactful women's wrestling wrestler come next year and so forth. I think she's gonna be put over with, especially working with Edge. I think I'm excited to for this staple and this could be another New Day the Generation X staple forming. Like I agree with MK Judgment Day. I mean,
You
not
gotta
the
like the
toughest.
name because obvious reasons.
I get no, I
Yeah.
get the name. I get the name itself. I would have picked a different name.
Yes,
You know what I
yes,
mean? You know what
yes.
I mean? Like when I think of Judgment Day, I'm thinking about the pay-per-view name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me
So it's
too.
a, you know
That's
what
what
I
I'm
mean?
thinking about.
So it's like when they said it on Raw, it's like representing Judgment Day, and I'm like, wait, hold on, what's going on here?
They bought that pay
Yeah.
per view back. Yeah, like what? Oh, yeah.
I was, oh shit.
What day on Peacock is that? On a Saturday or on a Sunday?
Oh, Edge can actually now that you mention it, Edge can probably bring that back and reclaim it as just like his pay per view, or whatever. I guess
You
something
could
like that.
or you could have a pay per view centric around them. Like if this staple continues to grow, which I think they
Yeah.
will. I think they're gonna get more members. I think it's gonna be a big
I'm
staple.
I'm I'm trying to figure out. Sorry to cut you off. I'm
No,
just
no, you're
trying to
good.
wonder. I'm trying to wonder if, let's say, they're gonna do this whole thing where maybe Edge is gonna call himself the jury, and you know,
No, no, they're not
and
gonna do that. But I'm just
and
saying, like,
Rhea's the judge and the
no,
executioner. I mean,
no,
I mean,
no, no. Just shh.
I
But
think
anyway,
you're a little
yeah,
thinking too much out of
yeah.
there. But I mean, would it surprise me? Who knows? Who knows
well,
what they think.
I'm just thinking from
I,
what
I,
they're from
yeah.
WWE's point of view.
I can imagine just bringing back Judgment Day, and then ironically, the main event is him versus the world champion, like Roman Reigns type of deal or something like that. Just as as like an ego trip or something like that. But anyway, yeah.
All right, all right. Well, yeah, we'll see on that full. We'll see how they get going. Next up on the card, we have the one and only world title match on this whole card of 6 matches. The women's SmackDown champion, Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey in the I Quit match. Folks, we saw a good match, much better, greater, awesome match, better than WrestleMania, than that snooze fest that we saw in WrestleMania. It wasn't rushed. Personally, I thought they should have closed I think personally they should have closed this as the main event. This should have been the main event, in my opinion. This is the only title that you had out of all 6 titles in the World Wrestling Entertainment WWE, and you decide, and the only one on this event. You should have closed it. You should have made that the main event. I think it would have got over. I understand why they didn't. They were afraid of what they got in WrestleMania. Thought that the ladies would have not mesh well. But all in all, even for being an I Quit match, it delivered. You had from candlesticks, chairs, wrestling in the crowd, wrestling up and down. I personally was like the ladies bought it, and the ladies only ladies on the card, they bought it in my opinion. What's your thoughts, guys?
You done?
I am done.
I'll be honest with you. This match was literally boring.
You sexist pig. You sexist pig.
I tried my best to get into it, and I couldn't find it in me to care about it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Because
heels
Yep,
a sexist.
our sexist pig.
I'm just being honest with you. Like I didn't care if Charlotte won it. I didn't care if Ronda won it. I was just like, and it was so awkward too. It was like, ask her, and it was like, do you want? And then the ref took like forever to ask the other wrestler. It's like, okay, now do you? It's like,
it's that's the point of the I Quit match, my
no,
guy.
you don't get it. Go back and count how many seconds it took the ref to actually ask the person if they quit. It took them at least 20 seconds sometimes. It's like, dude, you're supposed to ask as soon as the other wrestler says ask. Or at least hold it up to their fakes or something. Like, then it's I'm sorry. These two should just never fight again.
Very heel.
Like,
That's your avatar.
I'm sorry. Like I like it wasn't like it wasn't the worst match ever. Like, it's just I couldn't get invested. I'm sorry. Like, they just shouldn't fight. And Ronda should fit. She would fit more as a heel, because I just don't care about her and Charlotte Flair. I'm sorry. And then someone brought up a good idea of Shayna Baszler versus Ronda, and I was like, I want to see that match. Actually, that actually does sound like a good match. But I hate to go in advance. I just didn't care. I'll be honest. I didn't care. I can't even get this match a rating for you, because I just couldn't find it in me to be like, oh yeah, I'm into this match. This is awesome.
All right, so you didn't like it. MK, your thoughts?
I thought this was great. First off, I knew it was probably going to be better because it looked like when Ronda came out, she looked motivated. You know, I don't know if you got that sense. I was like, okay, she looks motivated. I don't know what it was. I don't know if Vince McMahon gave her a good old talking to before the match, or she just found out that she was gonna win the belt. Whatever the case it was, they killed it. You know, although the crowd was was telling them to bring in the tables for majority of the match, which was hilarious. But aside from that, they popped huge for the finish. The crowd was really into it, and they definitely killed it. This reminded me a lot of their first match at Survivor Series a couple years ago.
Yeah, the Survivor Series in 2018.
Yep, and that one was a freaking banger during that time too. And here it was the same thing. They killed it, you know. And I was like, you know what, this should have been the match that should have happened last month, but I'm glad they rectified it here and actually had an awesome match with these two. So yeah, this was great, you know.
And it wasn't just strictly a submissive match. It was more like a hardcore, match all over the arena. They used all different weapons. They used, of course, again, she broke 2 candlesticks on Charlotte.
That reminds me, there was a funny fucking scene. Oh, sorry, that's my one curse word pass. There's a funny scene where I was just laughing. I was literally laughing because Ronda Rousey gets the candlestick from Charlotte, I believe it was. Then Charlotte disappears. And I'm like, oh my god, are they gonna fight backstage? I'm low key kind of hyped for this. Yeah, it might suck for the live crowd because they had to watch it on the screen. But me as a viewer from home, I'm kind of hyped for this. Now I might actually get it into this match at least some degree. But no, Charlotte reappears to like, I got 2 candlesticks. And I'm just like, okay. I'm like,
I think we should start a hashtag. Hashtag heels a sexist pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what you wanted was wanted the cameras to go backstage. I know you would wanted to see what kind of spread Vince McMahon and the world and WWE gives their wrestlers as snacks. I think you wanted to see the buffet that they have the
He
wrestlers.
wanted to see the catering.
They wanted to see the catering, and wanted to see, and I think he was disappointed on that. But
He said, "Where's
No,
my green?" He said, "Where's my green beans, man?"
yeah,
no.
he wanted to see if our truth was hanging in the back, but
It would
it
have
is
been
what
funny
it
to
is.
see our truth, but no, it was just funny. It was like, no, I'll raise you your one, can send you two.
He missed the whole funny part of the whole match was when they're at ringside, when they're coming back into the crowd, and kudos to Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. They're doing a phenomenal job calling these fights.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't care less for Pat McAfee before, but the more he's grown a lot on me, and I really love the way he calls the matches with Michael Cole, and Michael Cole took his broadcasting level to another degree. He's not boring like when he first came out, he was a little boringish, but now I really enjoy him. I think they're the over crowd. But when McAfee casually says, "Oh look, it's the Fiend,"
Yeah.
and that was funny. That was good. That's a funny moment. Down heel.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was funny too. And I was trying to look for him in the audience, and I was like, oh, I guess he disappeared. I went back to the free agency market.
But all in
Yeah.
all, I thought the match was good. You saw all in all, Charlotte. I think Charlotte's gonna like you guys got your wish. She's gonna take some time off. You're not gonna see her on with the belt for a while. I think maybe she might. Remember she's engaged. She is not
Yes.
leaving
Yes.
She is not leaving the WWE.
No. No.
So pipe the dreams down. Pipe through all the. She was never gonna be all elite. No matter what happens there, you have a better chance of Andrade returning back to WWE than Charlotte ever stepping foot in AEW. She's gonna try to. They're gonna make the French. She's gonna break her dad's world title range record. And I think she's gonna take some time off. They're gonna play the kind of played it that she injured and either have torn labrum or whatever the case is, an injury. Will be out of action for a while. Just some time off for her. She works. She's a competitor that works a lot of fights. She's her schedule. Hectic. She's one of those that, like her father, yeah, I'm there. You know what? She really dedicated herself to this business. I kind of felt a little bad because I think that's something that she wants to experience. I think it's motherhood, and Mother's Day made her drop to Rousey. I could get it, but I was like, so that angle and
Maybe.
all that stuff. Yeah, so
I think the time off is well deserved.
I
Honestly,
think so too. I
I
think so too.
agree. And look, to be honest, just to make one final comment before we move on to the next one, my comments earlier when I said that she should be out of the title picture doesn't necessarily mean that I wasn't a fan or think she was talented. I just felt um, like the run she was having and the future she was having with Ronda was very stale. And I felt like maybe getting her out of the title picture would
Oh, back then
maybe
it was still, but this match is not.
Because they
the, the,
delivered.
the, that's two different things. The match can be great, but that doesn't necessarily mean the overall
The feud.
feud was good. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's the
can't go
thing.
back. You can't go back on Friday Night SmackDown and start talking these ladies again. You need now it's a new fresh a new competitor, a new person for that title.
So yeah.
I agree with you on that. With that said, So anything else about the ladies' sexist pick before we move on?
No, I said everything.
All right. So now we go. Now, boy, that fight delivered, and they're gonna give you the match before the main event. And this is a match that you guys, what? It's main event time. Last call for alcohol. You know what? The main event is coming out. Maybe hot dogs are the last. If you want to get your popcorn, they're about to close the concession, and they need you happy corn versus mass cap moss. Now they were put in a bad spot to go right before that, but despite all the uphill battles where they were scheduled, I thought the match was good. And you thought I was gonna head and bury them? No, the match was good. The match was both competitors fought a good match, but I hope this is the end of this feud, personally, because I think they squeezed every bit of juice
Why? You
out
don't
of
like
this.
to be happy?
But Be happy with someone else. Enough with each other
Yeah,
now.
that's one.
Yeah.
Yo, that's this guy said. Go be happy with someone else.
Kev, you're being really negative. Why don't you like to be
No,
happy?
I know it's good. Now being negative. I'm talking about like you said about the feud with Rousey and Flair. Enough with the match, cast
He's,
Moss,
you
and
see how heel got happy once she started talking about the men.
I know he said something about men in tights. Just puts a smile on his face.
No, it's just Happy Corbin. Clap along if you feel. Happiness is the
No,
truth.
no, no.
God.
What
uh,
so
just to
what?
make this, just to make my comments sweet, short and sweet. I thought the match was okay, just regular basic TV match. But that's all I can really say about this.
Yeah, that could have been easily done on SmackDown.
Hmm.
This was one of the best matches on the card because I felt happy and positive.
Okay, this
You
guy's trolling, man. You're trolling, man. Be honest.
Nah, I am. Happy Corbin always brightens my day. He gives me motivation to go out there and do something with my life.
Do you hear this guy?
wow.
I mean, literally, he's one of the best motivational people out
Yeah.
there. So listen to this guy's words, man. Madcap Moss, we don't like you.
Who's we?
We want nothing to do with you. Get away from Happy Corbin. He's done with you. It's over, okay?
By we, he means only him.
Wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. So I didn't know he had feelings for this fella.
Happy Corbin is the man. No matter
Scott.
how bad his day gets, he's always happy. You gotta like the positivity.
Ladies and gentlemen, when we have a rebranding, we're gonna break up into two shows, and Heel will be doing his show.
Ham. We're gonna call
Ham
it. We're gonna call it Happy Eggs with heel.
Ham and Eggers with Heel, and of course, so that means that that means this was you at the arena.
Yeah, except that sign said, "I came here for Happy Corbin."
Ah,
He was
gotcha.
that dude. That dude was paid to hold that sign.
No, he wasn't paid. He was inspired by Happy Corbin.
Inspired.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
we saw the winner. Where do we go here? Where
Boo. It says
I mean-
winner, but he was a loser.
I hope this feud ends, and I hope they go on to.
It's
Corbin's
so
another.
negative. What a negative person.
All right, man. But I think honestly, much like Charlotte, I think Corbin desperately needs a time off. I think he's another guy that I think would deserve a good month or two break.
You're
Because
just jealous.
Let me ask you this. MK. Get some time off, and do you think would it benefit him joining the Judgment Day staple as a heel, quiet? No more. Enough. We don't want to see your gums. We don't want to see your pearly whites. We want to see you with that mean mugging. He's 6'9", intimidating. Character. Do you think?
I think it could work because I feel like for the longest time, a lot of fans when it comes to Corbin always liked that lone wolf look from back in the day.
You know what messed
But
up his? You know what messed up? Sorry to cut you off. You know what messed up his lone wolf look? He went bald.
actually, to be fair, I thought to be honest, he kind of needed the haircut though. He did. And don't get me wrong. I thought when he cut his hair, I thought that was like the best thing for him. And I didn't even care for honestly, I didn't care for when he did the lone wolf gimmick. I started liking Corbin when he was doing the whole Raw GM gimmick out here trolling every other week.
That was good
I
too.
was,
That was a good
yeah,
different. That was a
like
good
Cor-
different move. Yeah,
but the thing is with Corbin, just to be all serious, like Corbin's a talented dude. Like I
he is.
like him, but it's just like this happy Corbin stuff isn't really it for me. And I think
What do you
maybe
mean? And by the way, if he did ever join that stable or that trio, whatever you want to call him, I mean, I think they would be happy to get him because he'll be able to buy all their suits, all their gear, They would be able to have nice catering, go out to nice expensive dinners. He'll be able to pay for everything they need. And also, who knows? They might be able to actually be happy for once, because they're very depressing. They're so angry. I think he can help turn them around.
That's the Ham and Nagel take of the week. You know how the WWE Slam of the Week, and this is the Wheel of the Ring Ham and Nagel take of the week.
Anywho, let's get to the.
Yeah.
How about instead of Judgment Day, we get Happy Corbin and that girl when you rename them Happy Days.
You know what?
Chip, you know what? You just made the list. Oh no! Oh, here we go.
I thought we were gonna go a whole program without anyone joining the list, but
Anyways, let's get to the main event.
Of course, we have the main event, the 6-man tag or trios, like they say in almost entertainment wrestling. The Bloodline versus the Arcade Bro and Drew McIntyre. A hell of a match. You saw everyone get involved. Mayhem, tags, quick fourth tags. I don't want to be in here against this guy. I'll get in there. And all in all, entertaining match. We saw someone go through the announce table. We saw super kicks. We saw RKOs. We saw spear. And of course, the one and only, the tribal chief comes up and pins Riddle for the victory. The storyline, the match, everything it delivered. I thought it was phenomenal. What a way of closing it. I thought it was phenomenal. I only have one critique with that, and I want to hear your thoughts before I make that critique.
It was a awesome main event. I thought I thought the star of the show in that main event was Orton, because I feel like he got the biggest reaction out of everyone in the entire show.
Tag. No one can no one energizes a crowd on a hot tag than Randy Orton. Go ahead, MK.
It was even, and I agree, it wasn't even just the hot tag though. Even when he came out with his entrance, like, there was loud Randy Orton chants. And don't get me wrong, like, everybody did great. McIntyre did great, Riddle did great, the Bloodline did great, but Orton was the most over guy in the entire match. Felt like he was the most over guy in the entire show, But overall, I thought this was a phenomenal match. And my one thing I would have wanted, one thing I would have changed, I thought, I actually wish the baby faces would have won this match, but nonetheless, I was thoroughly entertained by this. This was a lot of fun.
Heel.
Yeah, watching this match had a kind of a slow start, but as it started to build up, yeah, it got really fun. And when the ending happened, I can admit I was left with kind of an empty feeling, because I was like, yeah, that's right. There was something at stake. It's just, yeah, we win. But of course, he doesn't like a nice RKO spot when it's just Randy Orton going boom, and then another boom, and then oh shit, and then boom, That's always fun. You can't go wrong there. And I was just like, you know what? I'm like, this match, I think, surprised everybody, because, on paper, I don't think deep down there was very few people that were really excited about this match. And I'll be honest with you, I want Randy Orton to face Roman Reigns.
I do too.
I think he deserved it. It deserves it. He's earned it. And Drew McIntyre, I'm sorry, maybe in the future, but Randy Orton just earned it a lot more, I feel like.
Okay. But first of all, folks, we're gonna. I want to show you the first inaugural PWF Pillow Wrestling Federation. We have our Pillow Wrestling Federation champion in heel. We saw his pillow there. He wrestles with the pillow. We need to do a GoFundMe so we can get him a WWE pillow buddy so he could wrestle and leave the pillow alone. So, with all that said and done, the Pillow Wrestling Champion of the world. Are you the Universal Pillow Champion or the North American Pillow Champion, or what's your status here?
I'm the World Heavyweight Pillow Champion. Have been.
Now, for a heel, he wanted to have a big storyline, so he started off as the Cruiserweight Champion.
Do I look like a
He said,
cruiserweight?
no, he said, he says he wants to have a long-term storyline. He wants to.
Do I look like a cruiserweight? Be honest.
All right, so no, all in all, my get back to the serious note. I wanted to throw a little joke there. I wanted to see, the only criticism I had here, this is an opportunity for either you want to set up your Hell in a Cell or the next two pay-per-views. You could have had one of the babyface win. You could have McIntyre get the pin, and you could set up, hey, I even though it wasn't Roman, but you wanted to, I want to challenge other titles. We beat you bloodlines, we beat you guys. I got rid of one bloodline, I want to get another one, or vice versa. I think, or Randy Orton, or even Riddle. Even give Riddle an opportunity, and he's gonna get squashed anyway by Roman Reigns, but just an opportunity there. I think, like you said, I think the face should have won there. I think you could have put them over, and that would have helped you set up your world title. Because who do you have coming out of this WWE Backlash? Who do we got that wants to have? Is going to step up to fight Roman Reigns in Hell in a Cell? Who? There was no, and I don't want to sound like the New Day. Who?
I think, and I agree. They should have actually had this match set up for the next pay-per-view. Which I do agree, but I think what they're doing with Drew, I think they're not going to do that match right away. They're going to save that for the summer.
For the Castle,
and
that's one more paper. I think one or two more pay-per-views away.
We got Hell in a Cell next month, and then we got Money in the Bank, and then SummerSlam, and then the Clash of the Castles. So we got a few pay-per-views away. So I think with Drew, they're going to play the long game, but in the interim, I think. Because if you watch SmackDown, they still teased with the Nakamura stuff.
Yes, and they never went back to that. It's like, okay, you kicked his rear end right after there, and what happened?
They did a promo. He cut a promo on 2 days ago, mentioning like, oh yeah, he's coming out to face Roman. So they might lead to that. I don't know if they're gonna do Roman's feuding with both Randy Orton or Riddle. Not Riddle. Nakamura, because he has 2 titles, right? So I don't know if, let's say they have Roman on Raw, he's feuding with Orton, and then on SmackDown he's feuding with Nakamura. But on the same time, Drew's working his way up back to the title picture. So we will just have to wait and see where that goes. We will have to see what happens on Raw or SmackDown in the next upcoming weeks.
And here's a scenario I could throw out to you guys.
Go shoot.
It looks like the WWE is not unifying the heavyweight title. It's not, because you can still see Heyman with both belts on. Usually, when they unified it, they make one unification belt. In one, they're not doing that unless, who knows, maybe tonight, I might look like egg in my face, and on Raw, here comes Heyman and they're producing a new title. But I digress. You have Nakamura is your challenger for the SmackDown title, the world title. And in the Raw heavyweight title, you're like, wait a minute, we want a piece of you. RK Bro wants their hands on the tribal chief. And forget up, you squashed our tag team unification. We're not interested no more in unifying. We want the gold. And now you can set up a triple threat match for Roman Reigns and RK Bro. And you could possibly have that RK Bro split or turning heel eventually, because the gold is in the way of getting that. You could set that angle line, and you also got feuds there now. And then you could actually, if Roman does decide he's going to do Hollywood, like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, you could have those two on a triple threat, and Roman lose the belt without actually getting pinned. He still keeps his perfect streak alive with not being pinned, and you could give the Raw title either to Riddle or Randy Orton in that area, and you could still keep Roman Reigns on Friday Night SmackDown with the one belt and with his aura being undefeated and so forth and etc. And you could still build something with McIntyre since he's on SmackDown for in the Clash in the Castle and so forth. Maybe you can go those routes. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that, or instead of having Roman defending both belts, maybe it'd be one of those situations where he would defend the titles at the pay-per-view, but with, let's say, with Nakamura, he defends it like on SmackDown, since it's a lesser, bigger match. You know what I mean? Because if you really think about it, like, would you rather have Roman versus Nakamura for a pay-per-view, or Roman versus Orton, or a triple threat with RK Bro? You know,
Now,
like,
I don't know if you remember, I told you that I'm not a big fan of Shinsuke before. I was like, I didn't see that. But I really wouldn't mind seeing it on a pay per view. If you're telling me you're gonna screw, like, kind of like screw the Roman Reigns button type of deal, like let him fight 2 pay-per-views, never done before, champion. I am, acknowledge me. I will defend the title 2 times. Although I think Jericho did that, if I'm not
yeah, I
mistaken.
mean, yeah,
Yeah, it's been done before.
Yeah, it's
I
been
know
done
that.
I mean,
before.
yeah. I mean, Rollins did the same thing too a few years ago.
Okay.
So yeah. So, but yeah, but in terms of like 2 world titles defending, yeah, I guess he would be the first one. But yeah, I mean, it could work, right? It could work with Nakamura and Reigns as a pay-per-view. I mean, they did Reigns and Cesaro in a pay-per-view match, right? They did Reigns and Balor for a pay-per-view match. So I guess they could do Nakamura, unless they move, unless they do they advertise it for the pay-per-view and then be like, nah, we're gonna do it on SmackDown, like a week before the pay-per-view, like they did with Reigns and Mysterio a year ago, you know. So they could probably do that. I mean, there's a number of ways they can go about it. We'll just have to wait and see where they go with Reigns at this point.
Yeah, we could do that. We could see how that goes with that, because that'd be interesting to see how, because right now, for us as fans, we normally kind of see a little bit of what's been unfolding, what's the storyline, but right now, and this is the good thing about it, we do not know where they're gonna go with this. So right now, for the first time in a long time, WWE creative team got us guessing on what's gonna happen with Roman Reigns. I don't even think they know what they're gonna do with Roman Reigns, what's gonna happen there. And I think it's too soon for Cody. Although Cody,
Yeah, it's too
it-
soon.
it's too soon. It's a little too soon. Although you want to take advantage while the pop is up, but it doesn't look good for him to come, and he's not even 6 weeks in the company, and he's already getting over that fast. So it's gonna say, you know what? I'm just gonna, when my contract is up, I'll go wrestle for a year somewhere else and come back and demand to get put over and get the belt. So I don't
I
think that's, yeah.
Yeah, and I think with Cody, honestly, it's better for him in order to keep that the babyface positive reaction. I think the long game works for him, right? Because if he wins, I feel like if he wins the title too soon, there is a chance for people to turn on him, right? So it's better for him to, let's say, wait another, I don't know, several months before he goes after the belt, you know? So that sort of thing.
Right, I agree with you there on that there, and we'll see, because we know right now Monday Night Raw ratings are low right now, and SmackDown as well, not drawing like they normally do. So they're worried that what's going on, Irk? What's going on? Salute, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Hey,
You too. You too.
So we'll see. The Raw ratings are down. Also, every all across the board, all AEW as well, their numbers are down. They need to,
Mhm.
this is the bad time of the year for wrestling, with the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, baseball season just, starting to get better. The weather is starting to turn up, better, nicer. More folks want to be outside, take advantage, especially we were cooped up in a pandemic for so long, and now everything's kind of almost kind of normal. So everybody is like, you know what, screw that. We're not staying indoors, we're going out. So it's interesting to see how the creative marketing television, to captivate the audience, to give us some matches. Maybe they might not go the long way. Maybe they want to do things short term immediately, because ratings. It's a ratings game at the end of the day. I think, what is it, another year or two before the contracts are up for the
For
the
for Fox, yeah.
for Fox. So they need to get ratings up, and maybe, who knows. So I think, look for them put some good matches going forward on that, and we'll keep an eye on that. And as the ratings go along, we will definitely, you know. And Cole said WWE Backlash was half baked.
Mm.
So Monday Night Raw, we know we teased earlier, that it's going to be Cody Rhodes and Theory for the United States title, and will be interesting to see. Let me ask you a quick question: do you think he go around the panel? I'm gonna start with Heel. Do you think he wins the title, Cody Rhodes tonight?
Uh, I'm gonna go with. I'm probably gonna go with maybe.
No, it's a yes or no question.
Maybe.
All right.
Because I
I'll
really don't know. Because I really don't know. But you know what? Fine. I'll give a direct answer. If I had to put my money and there's a Las Vegas odds,
Oh
I'm gonna
God.
go with like just barely yes. That's like 49-51.
I'm saying Cody's not winning the belt. I think he'll win the match, but not the title. I think it'll be a disqualification. I think Theory is going to retain the title. I think Rollins is going to interfere. So, yeah, just to continue the feud.
I think Theory wins on a disqualification. I think Cody's gonna snap in a good way, and I wouldn't be surprised if Miz is the one that interferes here. And I think you're gonna see Miz Cody program starting to work tonight. I
But
think the
That
what
could
Rollins
be cool.
what if Miz interferes though, and then that distracts Theory, and then Cody takes advantage of it.
Oro says Cody will not win the title. I agree with you on that. I don't think he wins the
Yeah.
title, but I think eventually down the road, I think he will. I think he'll win, and then one. I think he'll.
You know, what'd be funny. What if Theory did beat Cody Rhodes like somehow clean, or even just beat him to the point where like he was knocked on the ground for a few minutes?
Boy, then I'll say McMahon really paid him a lot of money to come back to
No, no,
WWE.
no. Like it doesn't even have to be like really clean. It can be off a distraction, whatever. But let's just say Cody's knocked off a little bit, and then Theory took a picture, obviously, and then he sent it to AEW.
I think this if Theory were to beat Cody, it would have to be like with Seth Rollins, costing him the match, because that way it's like if that happens, at least Theory can say, you know what, ever since Cody Rhodes came back, I'm the only one that actually did beat him, so he has that over him. So that way when
So you
Cody,
said down later down the road.
yeah, later down the road. So let's say if Cody wins the championship, maybe 6 to 9 months from now, you could set up a pay-per-view match like, hey, I actually did beat you I'm the only person that did beat you. So yeah, they can always set that up if they want to.
They
But
could
I
set
don't.
that in. They could set that in their pocket. I agree with
That
you on
has
that
to
one.
main event Raw though. I'm gonna go ahead and go ahead
No, I
and
think
tell you.
that's gonna be either 9 o'clock hour. I think that's gonna be the 9 o'clock hour
Or
match. Because
open the
remember,
show.
or opening, because now when I'm noticing when it comes to these with
They
Raw
book it
and
around whatever the big thing is around.
whenever they get the most eyeballs and they
Yeah.
captivate, because at 11 o'clock 10:50, now everyone's up to watch that,
The
and they
NBA
want to get the big
Finals
pops. Yes.
is on around that time. So is still the big
All
baseball
right,
games.
we'll keep an eye on that. My friend Earl, the wrestling experience returns Thursday night, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that, my main man. Salute to you. Thank you, guys. We had Midwest podcast in there as well. My friends there always covering AEW, and we got our friends here, Earl Cole from the wrestling experience. So they returning Thursday night, and we'll continue, bringing
Man,
the news and notes of wrestling. Guys, any final thoughts? Because we got a half hour to prep for Monday Night Raw to watch and enjoy, and
my only final thoughts is if I had to give Backlash a final score, it would probably be a solid like 5 or 6 out of 10. And overall, this Raw is looking nice, but already, and I don't know. I'm going back and forth on Cody winning the title because I can see a lot of reasons why he would and a lot of reasons why he wouldn't.
that's the mystery. That's what they
Yeah.
got us. They got you captivated because we won't. Does he win the title? A lot
Oh
of people
yeah.
goes, nah, it's too soon. And there's some of us, and then as you think about it, you're like, you know what, son of a gun. This
Yeah.
remember McMahon says in the World Wrestling Federation, and back in the days, anything could happen. So
Yeah.
who knows, with that there. But MK, what's your final thoughts on the event, Backlash, before we get out of here? Your final score?
I thought overall it was a fun show. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Hey.
I,
Yeah, I'd
I'm,
give it
I'm,
an
I'm,
8.
I'm with you. I was
Whoa.
gonna say 7.5, but I could see where it is because it was entertaining. You know, I will give it. I'll give it a 7.5 because there was only one title, at all. Period. And it only had one of the divas, one of the ladies.
By the way, where's your IC and US champion?
That's my point. Of course, tonight the United States title gets.
Well, besides today,
gets. That's why I think that's what also pulls me of thinking Rose will win this belt because they need to emphasize and bring prestige to these belts. And if you Cody Rhodes as a United States title run, will elevate that belt. It'll put the belt over on a Raw signature title, like the same way, So I think.
Yeah, I can see that. I just want to make one final comment before I go.
Yeah.
I mentioned this on Twitter, because I feel like these B shows are becoming shorter. I mentioned this on Twitter. I was like, maybe they should consider making these B shows brand exclusive. Where it's, let's say Backlash is like Raw only, because you mentioned about the mid-card titles not being defended, right? So you can even have it be where you can focus on the mid-card titles, the other women's titles and stuff like that, but you can keep these shows shorter, like make it takeover style, like 5 to 6 matches at most, in your house style. You know what I mean?
Right. And if they do that, do they do two premium events a month then?
No. That was the problem they did last time, because I felt like we had too many pay-per-views. I think they should do what they did in the Ruthless Aggression era, where it would be like, if May you have Raw, late June you have SmackDown. You know what I mean? Like, keep them separate for like 6 weeks or something.
I'll just say this, that could help, but I don't want to dig into a whole conversation. So I'll just say that could help, but otherwise, I mean, you never know.
All right, you said a lot of you said a mouthful there.
Yeah,
Hey, I like the idea with the but here's my rebuttal to that. Since it's now on if you have Peacock, you're really not paying per view. You're already paying for it, and if they come, a brand exclusive event once a month, it's not really saturating, except for the one time when you have your major collision, when you have like the SummerSlam, your major SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, the staple ones, and the rest you could make them into brand.
Basically that's the idea. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, but you might have to do 2 though, just for or 2-night event. Saturday night. Your alternate Saturday night will be the Raw, and Friday, similar to WrestleMania, but for brand exclusive, and you make it once a month. I think it might work, but I don't think they want to go that route because they got the stadium shows where they want to.
That's true. Yeah.
They're looking more that they're moving towards the stadium for more revenues for the live crowd and so forth. But we could discuss about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Please tune in tomorrow. We will have our Monday Night Raw review. So we'll watch Monday Night Raw. We'll give our reaction, our recaps, and our thoughts here from myself, BX Sports Jedi Kev, and the main man Heel, the Ham and Egger, the sexist pig now, and MK.
No, that's Adam.
Yep. All right. That is
so. Give us the pin, Heel. Tell us, get us out of here. Let us know what's going on.
Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Perfect 10. That's what you should read our show.
I'm awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up!
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in
Oh,
case you
man,
live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a
looking
bat, I
at the
don't know. My
youngest
rap, my
and
blood
fastest
boils
rising
over like.
star in
Oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
today.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed?